We loved the Tata Altroz when it was launched. It looked fantastic, had oodles of space and a good feature list too. However, the fly in the ointment was the performance from its 1.2 litre petrol engine. Now don't get us wrong, it was adequate for city use, but if you expected anything more from it, it just fell short. Now we knew that Tata was going to plonk the Nexon's turbo unit in the Altroz. And now for the Altroz's first anniversary, it's finally done. This is the Altroz iTurbo, and we're going to find out if this is finally the ideal premium hatchback to buy. If there's one thing that there wasn't a doubt about, is the way the Altroz looks. The front looks extremely dynamic and there are so many details that really make it stand out. This whole cliff edge effect here looks really good, and what adds further to the sportiness is this honeycomb grille. The wide swept back headlamps add a healthy dose of aggression as well. Even the fog lamps are uniquely placed and look really good. Moving to the sides, it's just as dynamic. The 16-inch wheels fill the wheel arch as well, and again it's the details that really stand out, like the cuts and creases all over. You can also see the unique indicator position and the blacked out sill line, which really makes it look sporty. Now again, for the rear door, even the rear door knob is placed here on the top, and that gives a really clean effect on the rear door. The rear completes the sporty design theme of the Altroz Turbo. Starting from the top, even the spoiler is in plain Jane and gets this split treatment. The sharp taillights are blacked out, and so is this center portion, giving it a very sporty stance. Overall, the Altroz is definitely one of the most eye-catching designs out there, and we just love the way it looks. Now let's talk about the interiors. First up, Ingress Egress is an absolute breeze in the Tata Altroz, and getting in and out of the car, there's no problem at all thanks to the wide opening doors. Now talking about the dashboard design, it remains identical, so it's a nice clean layout. But you don't get any soft touch materials on the dashboard, but you do get some soft bits on the door pads and here on the center armrest. Now talking about the screen, you get a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Now that looks a little small when you compare it to the current competition. Also, the speedometer console, you have an analog part and the digital part. So while the digital part looks good, it's got plenty of colors, you've got fancy graphics going on, but the analog part looks a little boring. We think Tata could have added a few more colors to make it more interesting. You also have quite a few cubby holes and storage places all around, which makes it quite a practical cabin. Ergonomically too, everything is placed fine, apart from two things. First up, the stalks, the wiper stalk and the indicator stalks, they're a little short. So with your hands on the wheel, reaching the stalks is slightly odd. Now going on to the next thing, the horn pad. The surface area of the horn pad is a little too small. So again, with your hands on the steering wheel, reaching the horn pad is a bit of a task. And also it's not flat. So it's got a slight incline, so every time you don't think about it and you press the horn, your finger tends to slip. Maybe Tata just doesn't want us to use the horn enough. Also new for 2021 are these black and light grey interiors, along with these nice leatherette perforated seats. Now talking about the seats itself, they're nice and comfortable, they hold you in place well, and you've got enough support even when you're spending long hours behind the wheel. You also get a very nice driving position, and that's thanks to the large windscreen and a special mention for these outside rear view mirrors. They give you a nice clear vision, so there's barely any blind spot. Now, since we're done with the front seats, let's go check out the rear bench. It's only when you sit in the back seat that you realize how spacious the Altroz really is. Now you've got more than enough legroom, and thanks to the Altroz width, 3 people can sit reasonably comfortably, and that's excellent for a hatchback. Now the only thing that's lacking is the under thigh support. It could have been better than what it really is. Even the boot space at 340 litres is pretty adequate for hatchback proportions. For 2021, the Altroz also gets a bunch of features added. Making its way in the Altroz is the new connected car technology. So you now have IRA, or Intelligent Real-Time Assist. Now this has been developed in India for the Indian market. So the Altroz can understand voice commands not just in English but Hindi and English as well.
Play 93.5 FM on radio.
Sure, tuning.
Apart from that, there is the 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system linked to Harman Tune speakers, and the Altroz Turbo variants get additional tweeters too. Another new feature is the Xpress Cool, which helps the cabin to reach comfortable temperatures quickly by optimally setting the air conditioning to maximum cooling. You also get auto headlamps and wipers, cruise control, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, customizable infotainment theme where you can set up your own wallpaper, and turn-by-turn navigation in the instrument cluster, along with one-touch power-up windows and more. However, the Altroz does have a few things missing. Even for 2021, the Altroz does not get a sunroof. Now this isn't really a practical feature, it's more of a feel-good feature, but customers are demanding for it and we think Tata should have offered it. The other important thing missing is the wireless phone charging. Now that is available on almost all other cars and it should have made it to the Altroz's feature list as well. Now let's get down to the most important aspect of the Altroz iTurbo, its new forced induced heart. Now this is the same engine that you see in the Nexon Petrol, a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine, and in here it makes 109 bhp and 140 Newton meters of torque, and it's made it to a 5-speed manual transmission with a twin clutch automatic gearbox coming soon. Now compared to the naturally aspirated Altroz, this is a huge bump in power. But let's take a look at the competition. So you have the Polo TSI. The Polo TSI makes a similar 109 bhp but way more torque at 175 Newton meters. And you also have the i20 Turbo, which makes a huge 118 bhp and 172 Newton meters of torque. Now suddenly the Altroz's figures seem a little ordinary, but is it? Not really. The bump in power is noticeable. The Altroz iTurbo responds very well the moment you dab the throttle. Acceleration of the mark feels brisk and the car builds speed quickly. The turbo means mid-range is strong and drivability is its strong suit. The Altroz Turbo also gets sports mode, which does sharpen the throttle response. Tata claims a 0 to 100 km/h time of sub 12 seconds, which isn't the quickest but quick enough. What could have also been better though is the gear shift quality. The shift feels rubbery, and the gear throw could also have been shorter to make for a sportier driving experience. The engine note too isn't very pleasant and more of a mechanical thrum. Refinement though isn't an issue, and the Altroz does well here. What is impressive though is that even with the significant bump in power, Tata claims that the Altroz iTurbo delivers a claimed fuel efficiency of 18.13 km per litre, which is excellent, but something we still need to verify. Now, talking about the ride and handling, Tata tells us they've made no significant changes either to the suspension or the brakes, which means ride quality is still on the stiffer side. While small undulations and uneven patches aren't an issue, the Altroz does thud and crash over ruts and sharp concrete joints. The steering too is on the heavier side, and at slow speeds it does press its weight. While there isn't too much feel, the heavy steering and the stiff suspension do make the Altroz a very neutral handler. It changes direction quickly and one can enjoy the twisties. Prices for the Altroz iTurbo will be unveiled on 22nd January, and we expect Tata to price it between 8 to 9 lakhs, which should make it very good value. Now, coming back to our original question, is the Altroz iTurbo the ideal premium hatchback? Now, if you're looking for a premium hatchback with the most exciting performance, the Altroz iTurbo still doesn't make the cut. Now, with that extra performance on offer and the new features bundled in, it's finally the well-rounded premium hatchback that it should have always been.